Welcome to Mighty Married Moms. Join us at our kitchen table twice a week as the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Linda, Wendy, invite spectacular guests to weigh in on staying sexy, vibrant, and healthy, building marriages with soul-satisfying connection, raising happy, healthy, successful kids. Conversations with Mighty Married Moms will bring you closer to the life you really want. Episode 131. Today's show is brought to you by Deborah C. Owen, youth mindset trainer and parent coach at youcanraisegreatkids.com. If your child, teen, or young adult seems to be floundering and is stressed out and you don't know what to do, don't keep putting off getting the help you all need and deserve. Now is the time to help the young person in your life learn to thrive with confidence, grit, and resilience. Call Deborah Owen at 978-835-4354. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mighty Married Moms. I'm Debbie Owen from youcanraisegreatkids.com.
I'm Linda Tighe from allwellbreaksloose.com.
And Wendy Williams from connectagain.org.
And wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
Wow.
Dr. Edward Hallowell, otherwise known as Dr. Ned, thank you so much for being our guest on our show. This was really terrific.
You've all heard of Driven to Distraction, right? I mean, who hasn't?
Who hasn't?
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
If you've been alive.
Who isn't touched
And if you
by...
haven't, you just know what it feels like.
Yeah.
Right. The book Driven to Distraction about ADD and ADHD is like a seminal work, and we were so pleased and proud that Dr. Hallowell agreed to come on and talk with the Mighty Married Moms.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
a productive conversation.
Yeah, and
deep.
enlightening
And
and inspiring and
Because
just
honestly,
hopeful.
whose life isn't affected in some way, shape, or form by ADD? We're
Absolutely.
all
Everybody-
affected by it, whether it's somebody in our family or somebody at work or
Ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, almost. And that's an interesting question, and we'll have to talk about this the next time you come back, Doctor. Is why is it so prevalent? It seems more of an issue now, or is it just that we're?
I think the awareness has
The
just
awareness
been,
is just greater.
Yeah, the greater awareness.
But I'm wondering also the kinds of things that we have in our society, the technology.
Well, yeah, the technology.
the cell phones. Has technology contributed to it?
It has to.
I think it has.
Well,
too.
it might contribute to distraction, but when he defined ADD as, he just really kind of, the attention deficit disorder, he said it's not a deficit, it's an asset, and it's not a disorder, it's a trait. So what do we decide to call it? But anyway, ATT, whatever.
Attention abundance trait.
Right, AAT, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if the brain, if distraction is more prevalent because of the screen world that we're living in, that's one part of it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that all the people that are distracted or getting the dopamine hits all have ADD as a diagnosis.
Right.
Because he said those people actually have a Ferrari brain, but bicycle brakes.
Yeah.
And they need to bring up their ability to brake and to harness the power of that Ferrari engine. They're blessed. They're blessed. I love the way he said it. They have something over and above, an abundance of something that needs to be directed in order to help them. But they're going to have a great life, and we're going to all have a great life because these people are around, which is not what they're hearing in school.
No, it's
Right.
not.
Not what teachers are saying to them. Sit down, be quiet. Oh my gosh, sit on your hands. Get more meds.
Well, and that's because, and this is a whole other issue, and I think it's worth a discussion, maybe not deeply today, but at least mentioning today, and that is the way we teach kids.
Yes.
It's an issue because, and the people who teach kids in, nice little rows or circles or squares or whatever, that's the way they learn best. Teachers tend to teach the way they learn best, and that, who can blame them?
Yeah,
sure.
I taught the way that I learned best.
Right.
And, the thing is, though, is that not everybody learns best the same way.
Correct.
And so what can we, I don't know, this is a huge question. What can we do in our educational system that will create a better learning environment for people who learn differently?
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
It's a huge question,
challenge,
and it's a
particularly
challenge.
because most of our classroom situations are a lot of kids with one teacher, right? So how does one teacher possibly address the individual needs of everybody in the class when they've got 20 kids in the
learning
class?
styles,
Or learning
or
styles.
learning
Yeah.
approaches that everybody needs, or So yeah,
In
it's
the
huge.
current way that our education is structured,
Right.
it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a whole wonderful conversation. We've got to find a real educational historian that can help kind of give some context. Because I think, the classroom was set up in order to kind of make it easier for when Dad went off to the factory and Mom was home, and you had to have all these kids and put them in rows and teach them how to be factory workers.
That's true. Absolutely.
So it all is born out of some industrial complex that isn't necessarily how we all work today anyway.
And there are a lot of teachers who are working really, really hard to change that paradigm.
Absolutely,
Of course.
absolutely.
Yes. But it's not keeping up well. And then, like I said, you have these children or young adults or those of us in the room here who have this Ferrari brain, but the brakes aren't keeping up with it, and it overreaches all the time. And so he's just got a really wonderful approach and a philosophy on how things can go differently. And it was so loving and so kind,
and with a deep understanding.
Personal.
I mean, he really has a deep understanding of the topic. I mean, he's been studying it for a long time. He's
lived with it for a long time.
Lived with it, family with it. So he's definitely
what I think is interesting too, and I definitely want to check out this brand new podcast as we're recording this, is
Distraction Podcast. Yep.
.com, distractionpodcast.com. But what I think is interesting is he says it's looking at distraction from a point of connection. Which is perfect.
Yes.
It is perfect because only when we recognize that we're being distracted from the connections in our lives can we recognize that we need to do something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And connections is where real, deep happiness and fulfillment.
And that was how we ended up our
Yes,
conversation.
exactly.
Yeah.
We started it that way and we ended it that way. Is that really, and he called it vitamin C. It's as important to our lives, vitamin connection, as vitamin C. And he said it might even be more so than ascorbic acid is to the health and well-being of our bones. Which, it's such a welcome and timely. I was saying to him maybe before we started, is that mindset and approach to living is much more important than a checklist of 50 push-ups a day and how many calories a day. It's about connection and about mindset and about saying, this is where I want to put my priorities on talking to the people that I love on a regular basis, not just stuff.
They said the antidote to distraction is connection, which I really
love that.
I mean, I would never have put that together that way.
But it makes so
ever.
much sense if you stop and think about it and picture the scenes where that happens, the scenarios in your life. When you can connect deeply with somebody, really looking them in the eyes and really caring and putting aside everything else. But, it's so hard because that dopamine hit is so tantalizing.
And those are quick little bursts that give us energy and give us and drive, but they don't sustain.
Correct.
They're only meant to be short-term. But when you're used to living on short-term hits, then that's what we go for and keep trying for it. And we replace that. That is what's replaced. What should be in place is something like longer lasting, like for men and women, oxytocin and testosterone are longer term ways of feeling chill, feeling better, feeling more connected, feeling more able. But we can't ever get to it because we're too busy up here, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit. And it's just not healthy. It's just not healthy. It's like a little bit of adrenaline, like living. And he said people with this disorder, whatever, attention deficit disorder, are driven, to work situations where they can kind of get the medication that they need, the brain salve that they need, like healthcare, being right there where it's a crunch all the time, or or entrepreneurs are very known to have ADD and so forth. So it's
actually
that connection of the brain.
I want to point out the entrepreneur thing, which is intriguing to me because we've been involved. All three of us are entrepreneurs at this point, and we've been involved in a lot of groups online and in person where people are really struggling to get their business going. And what's intriguing to me as I'm putting the pieces together is recognizing that if most entrepreneurs have ADD, what's one of the most difficult things for an ADD person to do? Finish.
Yes.
And so if you're an entrepreneur and you feel like you're having trouble getting your business going, stop, take a step back and say to yourself, is finishing one of my problems? Is that a key indicator of the fact that I might have some ADD?
Finishing a project, finishing a...
Absolutely.
Yeah, whatever.
And if your business is stalled, is it because you can't finish?
Yeah. And if it is, you might want to talk to somebody about a little ADD
assistance.
Or the
Or
whole
even just being aware of it can be a big help too.
I thought, too, the whole idea of the procrastination, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a killer.
Procrastination, you wait and wait. You'll get it done, whatever time you have is what you will use to get it done. If you have a week, you'll wait until the end of the week to do it. If you have 2 days, you'll wait till then. But when you talk about that dopamine hit, that hit of suddenly it's due tomorrow and
you get the gas that you need to do it.
And you get the gas, and that's kind of addicting to feel that feeling, and that can be a symptom of having
you rely on
ADD.
that. You rely on that, and it's painful.
Yeah.
To rely on that
Yes.
system of like, I know I can get it done when I need to get it done.
Right.
And in the meantime, you have a week. So day one, you go, oh, I really should do that. But I know
feel
I
like
can get it done. Day two, oh, I really should. All that mental energy and that, feeling bad about, I'll speak for myself, feeling bad about myself,
Yeah.
saying, I really should do that now. I know that I could do it now. I could get it done in 5 minutes, but I have till Friday. And then it mounts and mounts and mounts, and then I get it done on Friday, and I push through it, and I feel good about it, but I say, I wish I'd done it Tuesday.
Well, and
Because then you stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning and
Yeah,
you're tired
they have
of
other
it,
things to do with Tuesday, Wednesday,
And
Thursday, Friday.
But see, this is the thing. If you're a parent and your child is struggling
Yes.
with this and it drives you crazy that they always wait till the last minute to do something,
Explains it.
ask yourself, is it a possibility that my child has ADD? Because this is a key symptom.
Right.
Yes.
It's
true.
a problem.
That's true.
And
That's
so many kids.
And don't
so
think of
many
it as
kids.
AD deficit disorder. Think
No.
of it as attention abundance trait.
There you
Yes.
go. But the point is, so many kids wait until the last moment and they say, I can't work ahead. I can only do it this way. And it's like, for somebody
interesting.
who doesn't have ADD, they're like, what do you mean you can't do it early? Of course you can. You're
Yeah.
choosing not to.
Right.
And as somebody who's, I think I'm kind of borderline ADD. I mean, I definitely see some elements of it now that we've had this enlightening conversation. But I think I'm not, way over far, So I can actually choose to do something in advance. In fact, I've been doing that for years and years and years. It was something I used to do in college, I'd hand in my papers at class period early. Little brown nosing, sorry about that.
I'll say.
Right, yeah.
I have never been that student.
You're right, yeah.
But the point is, I always felt like I can choose to do it in advance. I can choose to plan my time. Why can't you?
Right.
Yeah.
And now having this conversation, I say, well, perhaps they can't.
Right,
Truly
yeah.
and honestly
Right,
can't.
Right.
Or haven't thought of it that way and need to learn the tools to be able to do it,
Exactly.
right? Because I've always procrastinated. I mean, I'm realizing now,
Well,
like,
there
oh
are
my
plenty of
gosh,
things
I've
I
never even
procrastinate
thought
on.
about it before. I always get it done.
Right.
but-
Get it done, but it doesn't.
And I
make-
focus really well at the end.
We all
I feel
do.
like that's when I'm most creative,
Oh, yeah, but now you see
But that's
an
the
excuse.
story.
It
That's
is.
the story.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And
I
the
never
other-
thought about it, honestly.
And the other analogy that he gave was the Niagara Falls one.
Yeah.
He said, Niagara Falls without an electrical plant nearby is just a lot of loud crashing water. But let's harness the power of that loud crashing water and redirect it and light up the world.
Yeah.
So that's the same concept of if we have this powerful brain that really, really works. Let's figure out a way to harness it and use it in a really creative way and kind of make something synergistic out of it.
He's not the first person to say that, people with ADD or any kind of learning challenges are the people who actually end up changing the world.
Yeah.
So
plenty of times.
it's just a matter of how do I take this brilliant brain and, as Wendy just said, learn how to harness it and use my strengths.
Yeah, if you're a parent and your kid is struggling with ADD and your child is feeling less than because of the way that it's happening at school, it's so simple. You just Google famous people who have ADD or
Yeah.
ADHD, and there are lists all over the place, and share that with your child.
Yeah.
And let them know that, the people the movers and shakers over time
Right.
are the people who have had this issue.
Right.
Exactly.
And I also like, what he said is the disability is not the ADD. The disability is the shame and the fear. And I really, that was really,
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
It really
yeah.
hits your heart. And I really like the way he said, he said, don't use the moral model, use the medical model. And what he meant by that was, if I live with a husband who has ADD, hi Jeff, and, it used to be like I'd say, why don't you X, Y, Z? Why? And because you don't remember to do that, it must be about our relationship. It must mean that you're just trying to be mean to me. And it isn't about that. It isn't a moral issue. You have to make the thing, taking out the trash, that's not one of our things, but taking out the trash really exciting or some way of really obvious so that person can actually glom onto it and move from a moral to like, oh, your brain doesn't work like mine. Go to a medical model or a medical understanding of the other person's role or part in your life and move away from that judgment piece. And I also like what he really like what he said about struggling between people trying to figure out medicate, not medicate.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Linda, you said it after we hung, or when we hung up. What was the thing, the light bulb that went off for you about the medication versus?
Well, I think it has a stigma to it. I think people, I know I have, thought of it as you imagine your kid walking around like a zombie. You know, so they go from being distracted to being, lethargic. And he just said if someone's lethargic on a medication, they have the wrong dose. You know, and so if one medication doesn't work, try another one. You know, I mean, sometimes maybe it'll be the little thing that helps them actually really focus and start to shift into getting into the power of their, as he called it, their Ferrari brain, and learn how to build up the brakes from bicycle brakes to real car brakes that work. You know,
we struggled with that with our son when he was little. We were constantly trying to find the right dose, the right medication that would work without him being lethargic or having all these other side effects or whatever. It's a struggle. And I will also add, when your child is younger and they're growing, it may be the right dose for 2 or 3 months, and then all of a sudden their body changes. And you'll have to come up with a new dose or a new medication that works. And so I'm just putting that out there. If you've got a younger child who's dealing with this, and you think everything's working great, don't be afraid to, shift, adapt, adjust if you need to.
If it stops working.
If it's not working so well anymore, because they grow.
Right.
Right. Grow and change, absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, it was just a really enlightening conversation, and sounds like he's got two new books he's going to be writing.
Yeah.
One's a memoir, and one is another book about ADD, and he's got this great one out called Married to Distraction, which is a great
book here.
how-to. It's
Yeah.
called Includes a 30-Day Reconnection Plan. Now,
It's a really good plan.
ConnectAgain.org really likes that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I just want to pull out a couple last little tidbits, too, that stuck out for me. One is in terms of how to handle ADD in your household. He didn't put it quite in these terms, but essentially what Dr. Hallowell was saying was systems and humor. Make a joke out of something that's a problem. Oh boy, there we go again. You're over on this, and you just make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And then the systems too.
Right.
And he was talking about, put a flashing red light on the trash can if you need. Whatever the system. Come up with a system.
Right.
Systems and good humor. And if you're able to include those in your household, you'll figure things out. So that was one key takeaway that I wanted to make sure we highlighted.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, going back to connection, let's wrap it up with a connection again. He was talking about how he goes through the grocery store and tries to catch people's eyes. I went to Mount Holyoke College, and one of the key reasons I wanted to go there was because when we were visiting, and I visited more than once, when we walked around, everybody caught everybody else's eye.
Oh.
And for my entire 4 years there, that was a key. And we talked about it. It was important to us. It was what made us different from most of the other colleges and universities. When you walk around campus, eventually you start to recognize faces. You may not know their names, but, you start to recognize. It was a small campus, 2,000 students. I think they have a few more now. But when you walk across campus and you catch people's eyes, you feel like you belong.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so important. Belonging is one of our human needs. You need to feel like you're part of a community.
Yeah.
And you only have community when you have connection. So if you don't feel like you have belonging, if you don't feel like you have a community where you can catch people's eyes and just know that, hey, hi, I see you.
Right.
I see you.
Yeah.
Brian Grosso talks about this. We interviewed his wife, Carrie Campbell, recently. Brian Grosso talks about this. It's the I see you. And when you let somebody know, I see you, that gives them self-worth. And it lifts them up.
Yeah.
And, there's so much vitriol in our society right now as we're in this election season.
Oh, gosh.
And, let's put that aside.
Right.
Let's connect with people.
Right, and be kind.
Yeah, connect, literally, eye contact, and just how can we lift each
A
other
little
up?
smile
Exactly.
in the grocery store. He said it's like we become part of a secret society.
Yeah.
I've got an eggplant, and so do you. Kinda like whatever it might be. Like I'm going to go home and cook all this tonight, and you're not even talking. You're just smiling and acknowledging somebody. He says he makes a game out of it. I was going to ask him if he'd ever lived in the South, because he's living here in New England, where we're not necessarily known to be warm and fuzzy. I wonder if he'd
more
ever
genuine.
lived.
Yeah,
but
people
more
say,
genuine.
I don't know that it's any different.
I know. But anyway, so it would be like in the South, and to kind of travel the road of the grocery stores. Who
interesting.
knows?
Who
right?
knows?
Yeah.
But
Great.
connection, vitamin C.
Great. Well, you've been listening to another episode of the Mighty Married Moms Show, and we are really happy that you're here with us. We hope you picked up something really useful today.
Yeah.
I know about ADD, about connection, about love, because that was a huge part of our initial conversation was love. And that's really what Connection's all about. If you missed the initial interview, go back and check it out. So please share this interview with your, this conversation with your family and friends. Leave us a rating and review on iTunes. That would help us a lot.
Yes.
And thank you
And
so
thank you
much.
again, Dr. Hallowell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. We so
Really
appreciate it.
amazing.
All
Yeah.
right, great.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Mighty Married Moms. Tune in twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to meet fascinating and inspiring guests who will help you create the life you've always wanted.
You can find these episodes and special gifts just for you at mightymarriedmoms.com, as well as a link to our Facebook community,
where we continue the conversation around the kitchen table. Please also help share the love by leaving a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.